Okay, so let's begin.
Okay, so I am also here, Miss Siggy, and we just want to quickly introduce ourselves, even though you probably know exactly who we are. I'm Miss Siggy, and obviously
you know me. I'm Miss Lockhead. This is my 4th year at this school.
This is my first ever year teaching at all. So we're hoping this presentation will last between 20 to 25 minutes. And as Tori said, I wanted to reiterate as well that we're both very nervous and this is not normal for us. We'd much rather be talking to you both, all of you, sorry. But for obvious reasons, we can't. And I also just wanted to say that if you had any unanswered questions that you feel we hadn't covered, please pop them into the chat box and we will do our best to answer them with the presentation, or if we have time at the end. I've actually got the chat box open now, so I can see anything that you type. Yeah. Oh yeah, sorry. So in our team we have Miss Cantwell, who is one of our TAs, and Miss Tomlin, and Mrs. Nidick Pitt, but the children, and you probably know her as Mrs. GP. I'm told you'll probably know Miss Cantwell and Miss Tomlin from Foundation. I think me and Miss Lockhead can both agree that we are extremely lucky to have such a skilled and dedicated team with us who are ready to support. No,
you shouldn't be able to see us. Thank you for putting that into the chat. You'll only be able to see our presentation, but you should be able to hear us talking over it. We sadly can't do both on the computer. Thank you. So timings you should be well aware of. I'm sorry that this obviously hasn't happened well in advance of now. Drop off in the mornings is between 8:30 and 8:50, although we tend to have our doors open from about 8:25. If the gate is open, please feel free to come down. Sadly, we do need to then shut the doors at about 8:50 so that we can begin our morning. If you arrive for any reason, we completely understand if you arrive late. Obviously, car troubles, weather, it all affects it. But please do use the office, as we would have shut our doors and we don't want to waste your time walking round. At pickup, we will be taking the children outside onto the playground to line up at 2:40. Once all the year groups that are designated for that time are out there, the gates will open for parents to come around. I know it's really tricky when there's so many people, but please do not sort of have a chat, and please do just follow the one-way system and have a chat with other people once you're out. If you need to speak to us, then obviously we do want to speak to you. We're invested in what's happening in school and with your children, but we'd love for that to be over the phone or in email, just again to stop delays on the playground.
Okay, so homework, which this includes, as you can see on the screen, reading, numbots, and our creative projects. We ask that your children read at least 3 times a week at a minimum. If they read 4 times, however, then you've probably seen by now they've got
it's sort of a picture in the front of their reading journal of a bookshelf, and we've been colouring in the book spines when we've seen, or when we've been able to look through their reading journals and see that within a week's period they've read 4 times or more. That is happening, and they fill up a bookshelf, then like a theatrical, not literal bookshelf, then there'll be prizes.
So we encourage as much reading as you can. If you want to do more than 3 or more than 4 times a week, that's absolutely fine, as at the end of November or the beginning of December, we're not sure yet, they are taking their phonics screening test, so any practice is helpful. Also, in terms of numbots, I haven't had much experience with this, but I'm told that the children used it last year and they were getting very good at logging in now. This is also just really helpful for them to be logging in and using technology in general, as well, it's an unpredictable future. So the more they get used to logging in and using computers or tablets, the better.
The phonics screening test, we hate that word test, but the phonics screening will be taking place at the end of November. So we're going to try and make it as comfortable for the children as possible. It will be done with myself, Miss Lockhead, so that it's with a familiar adult, no scary examiner coming in or anything. And the children are practicing daily, so we're really not trying to concern them with any worry about this.
So the creative projects, you might be familiar with these, as this was what we sent home at the end of term 1. These will be sent out at least once a term, and they can be presented as a poster or a leaflet. They can be done online and emailed in. They can be a brochure. They can make models or bring in items. We encourage them to display this in any creative way that they would like. Yeah, that's it for the creative.
Lovely. So you've already seen their reading journals. We've explained what's happening in terms of the colouring in of the books at the front. We are trying really hard to look through their reading journals, us or Miss Cantwell or Miss GP, at least twice a week. So if we haven't seen it on a specific day, we do apologise. Obviously, things in school get very busy. This is when we'll also change the books, unless a child specifically comes over to us and says, I've finished my book and I've read it with an adult already, then the books will get changed strategically throughout the week on those days. To support with their comprehension, we do encourage them to read with a sibling, an aunt, an uncle, you guys, which is great. And please do ask them questions about what's happening in their book rather than just always listening to them. It does help, as well as they're sounding out, but to actually ask them questions and to check that they're understanding what they're reading as well. If you'd like to pass on a message to us, I know we've said this before, please do phone or email us. Please don't write it in their reading journals, because as we said, we may not see it on the day you intended us to see it.
Okay, so next up is PE, which is currently for year 2 on a Monday or a Wednesday, depending on what class you're in. So last term, it was 2JS, my class, on a Monday, and then 2VL, Tori's class, on a Wednesday. This was because on a Monday, we have the PE specialist coming in from KA. Her name is Miss Lawton. She only does Mondays? She only works on Mondays. Yes. So last term, it was my class who had time with her, and then this term will be Miss Lockhead's turn. So we ask that the children keep their PE kits in school all term, as we have to do PE outside all the time now. We can't use the hall because of safety. Because of COVID restrictions. Yeah. So as we all know, the weather can be really unpredictable. So if we try to go out on a Wednesday and it might be raining, we might need to then do it on a Thursday or Friday. So it's really important that they keep their kit in school at all times. I would ask as well, both of us would ask that it would you send in suitable or warm clothing for their PE kit whilst it's winter, because we are outside and it is getting cold. And then we will send them home at the end of every half term, and if you could, it would be great if you could wash them and bring them back on the first day of term. Wonderful. So our topics this term are displayed on screen. We're trying this year as a whole school to phrase our topics as questions, because we were finding that topics were very leading, and we wanted the children to make up their own minds and find their own answers while learning different aspects of the topic. So in term 1, we discussed what is a superhero. We talked about the army, nurses, and those people that are real and not just superheroes that are wearing capes. This term, we're looking at how Christmas has changed over time. We, in lesson, will be looking at a Victorian Christmas and how the Christmas tree was introduced and how it has changed over time. And we're really thankful for those of you that have spent time doing their projects with them and talking about how their grandparents or you guys have changed how Christmas is celebrated in your own home. In term 3, we're going to look at maps. This isn't looking at a very literal interpretation of the question. This is looking at bird's eye view, their local area, taking pictures and forming maps themselves, really looking at locality. Term 4, we're looking at continents and the oceans, looking at what they're called, where they are, and really looking at the globe as a whole and not just little England. Term 5, we are very apologetic here. As a school, we've done a whole topic rearrange, and
the Great Fire of London is now a year 2 topic. We do understand that this cohort will have done the Great Fire of London in year 1. We want you to understand that we will be adding to this understanding and knowledge of the time. We're also going to look at how maybe the fire could have been prevented, or what we could have done nowadays in what we know, that maybe it couldn't have been as destructive as what it was. Our final topic is one I'm really looking forward to, is Kenya more than a safari park? We want them to understand that tourism around the world can be for many reasons, and to have a real understanding of like a very far away place for them. A bit of a query, or more of a request: if you're a specialist, or if you have travelled to one of these places or are from one of these places, please do let us know in advance, because we can arrange things like video chats with you. You'd be like an expert in this, and I think it would be really nice for the children to learn something from someone other than us. Sometimes I think it's hard for them to think that we are an expert in everything, and to have other voices and other perspectives on a topic is really wonderful. So please do get in touch, and we can work out a way of sharing information. Or I want to say have you come in, but obviously we don't know what the future holds at the moment. So even if we could arrange a video chat with you, that would be brilliant. So do keep that in mind, have a look at the topics and see where maybe you could help out.
Yes, so the last thing we need to talk about is communication. So if you have, I know there's a few questions that have popped up, and I just saw the other comment there, that's great. We're going to have a look through the chat box now to answer any of your questions, and if you have any questions now, we have got a little bit of time now, so you can pop that into the chat box and we can answer any for you. If you think of any after this, please, as we said before, email or call the office, and we will contact you. And yeah.
Oh, thank you for the nice comments. We've tried really hard to put in as much information without bombarding everyone. Someone has asked, do they have to read chapter books 3 times? No, not at all. We completely understand that once they're on chapter books, it is not about their phonics anymore. It is all about their comprehension. If you have children in older year groups, then you may know that they go on to do quizzes on their books. We're really keen after Christmas and after the phonics screening that we may be able to get the year 2s that are on chapter books to do this as well. So with that in mind, if your child is already on chapter books, then please do be sort of quizzing them at home on what they've read, asking them questions on this. But under no circumstances do we expect a child on chapter books to be reading it 3 times. I think they'd get bored of it by then. Just seeing that someone is from South Africa, I'd love to talk to you about our Term 6 project. I think you'd be really informative and helpful. In terms of TT Rockstars, we are aiming for them to get onto that. One of the big things we've been trying to do at the moment is getting the year 2s to learn how to log into Google Classrooms. We didn't want to bombard them with different login details all at once. Once we know that the children are happy logging into different things, then we will give them more login details for TT Rockstars as well as Numbots. But thank you for asking, Catherine. That was really helpful. Just having a look at different questions. Very sorry. We're very uncertain about how parents' evenings are going to go ahead at the moment. So I'm very sorry. I don't know the answer to that one. But I'm sure a letter will go out. There was talk about maybe doing phone calls, but I can't say that for certain, I'm afraid, at the moment.
Yeah,
sorry, just having a look at questions.
I think you're okay.
Yeah, so we would love to talk to individual parents at some point. If a letter doesn't go out soon, but you are keen to discuss your individual child's progress, and please do email us and we can give you a phone call. We will bring it up with Mr. Brown, perhaps, about how we can let you know about what's going on in the future. I'm just mindful of time. We're going to sign off now or stop recording. But if you do have any follow-up questions, then please do email the office and they will send it on to us. we'll try and get back to you as quickly as possible. We have our login, but weren't sure. Oh, so there's just one thing about Google Classrooms. Your Google Class or your child's Google Classrooms logins were stapled to the front of their reading journals. Unless your child is isolating because they're waiting for results back, please do not worry about this. It is mainly for those that are isolating to access any work that we've set you. In the meantime, please do not worry about this. Your child is welcome to go on it and use it as a way of contacting us if they want to ask us questions or leave us a nice comment, or even talk to each other on it.
Yeah, even if it's just practice.
Even if it's just practice for logging in, but really don't worry about it until your child is isolating or for any reason the school has to close. Okay, wonderful. Thank you everyone for logging in and joining us. That's been wonderful. Thank you so much. Bye.
Bye.